So my name is Michael Peterson. I'm with FPP. I'm your competition manager for this year. I have we'll go through it in some of this. I guess I should get that ready. The purpose of this Zoom is to show everybody the competition isn't that hard. Really, if you're happy with a picture, and I think everybody gets to that point where they go, "Ooh, great picture," and then I don't want to enter competition because I want to be embarrassed. I don't want to be, pointed and poked at, and that's not why we're here. We're here to learn. I mean, the name this year, last year was a little confusing, and I think this year we've got a little better. It's Image Competition and Merit Review. Okay, this is a competition, but I like to say it's not a competition against other people. It is to a small part, but I think it's a competition against yourself. How can I do it? How can I get close? What can I do to make things better? We call it merit review because as you get merits, anything 80 and above in a score, which we'll get into as well, gets you your points towards you getting your degree or your merits towards your degree. We'll go through that in probably later Zooms if you hang around. You can also go on the fpponline.com website, and it breaks down everything you need for a degree as you work towards getting your images. Then you'll get those degrees, and they are what they are. I love mine. It shows you got to wear them all the time, but I do it because I enjoy competition, and it kind of shows me um, what I like to do. I've learned so much from going to see a speaker. I mean, we provide speakers at our seminars and focus and school, which is great. But I've learned a lot from making my images and all of the mistakes I make along the way. Which, as competition goes through and they talk about the image, good or bad, it might give you a better idea what to do next time, or at least fix it. So before I get going, what questions do we have, or what are you looking for today? Whoa, we just lost you guys. Go ahead. What are you guys looking for in today? What questions do you have that I'm going to try and make sure I answer today?
Well, here at the PPNF level up here in Jax, our monthly meeting is on Tuesday,
Mhm.
and myself and Joan Walker are doing a salon prep class for our salon that is going to be in April. We were planning on doing this in March, but our speaker for February had to leave the country on, a last minute notice, so we kind of had
Is
to.
it coming back?
Well, it's Virginia Crossio.
Her
Uh,
father had a,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, her father had a medical emergency, and
Okay.
so she had to leave the country. So anyway, but we're getting ready to do our salon prep class here, and I've been aligning very much with PPA over the last year or so since I took over as the president here in PPNF, and we're trying to get to where we have that continuity between us and FPP and PPA and how we handle these types of competition things. Because I feel like over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of disjointed, like at the salon level, we want to see this. At the state level, we want to see this. At the merit image review level, we want to see this. And then when we hit IPC, all of that goes right out the window and everything just kind of changes and whatnot. And so we have the 13, what is it, the 13 things to a mirrored image, whatnot. And
Well,
then,
yeah.
so it all just kind of changes. So I'm just wanting to see like what the differences are in that so that we can incorporate that in what we're going to be teaching on Tuesday night.
Okay, so he's been asking a lot of questions, which we will be getting to. We do run our rules like PPA used to run before the merit image review, and when they split off, which made it confusing for people with ours. PPA split their competition into competition and merit review,
Right.
split them apart. We are still together, which I prefer, and we get scores, which I prefer. But
Right.
we're going to get into that like right off the bat. So,
Okay.
what else? So we're going to talk about competition types and scoring. We're going to talk about what it takes for an image, um, dates, and more. Any other ideas before I get going?
Michael, it's
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
I have a copy of the rules that you sent me that may I suggest you put page numbers on it?
Well, that would probably be good. We didn't
Yeah,
do that, Anthony.
Do what now?
put
You
page
can. It's
numbers.
pretty easy.
Yeah, just go in the footer and put because I have them scattered out in front of me. I'm kind of rewriting our rules. It's like,
Well,
oh, they're all out of order.
you're
The
not supposed to scatter them across the bed.
Wait, is it from a PDF?
Yeah, so Michael Peterson sent me the FPP rules. I'm just suggesting you put a page number on them.
I'd imagine on the
Oh,
website they're
they
the
did.
same way.
Yeah, well, we don't put. Obviously, the website's not going to have page numbers on it because it's just listed fully. But
Yeah.
if you got the PDF, then yeah, whenever you generate it through Word, there should be a way to add page
Yeah.
numbers to it.
If you want a copy, I'll send you. She's just, Anthony, they're trying to change the rules to look like ours. So that when
Okay.
you have competitions, then it's pretty similar. So they don't get confused about things.
Yeah, that's what we did when PPGMF was around. We did the same thing. We made sure that our rules followed along with FPP. So that's
Did
actually a very good
Jacksonville
idea.
change their name?
Yes, we did, and we are so proud of it.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say what I don't know what this
we
Jacksonville.
ran into a lot of issues where we would run into people out in town and they would be in, because you know how big Jacksonville is. And then, of
Mhm.
course, we've got St. Augustine and all that. I actually live in Green Cove Springs. And when I would run into photographers out in town, and it would happen with other photographers that were members, and they'd say, "Hey, are you a JPPG member?" And a lot of the comments we would get back were, "Oh, I thought you had to live in Jacksonville to do that." And so the board got together and we decided to go back to our original name and just drop the society. We used to be Professional Photographers Society of North Florida. And so we just dropped the society and now we're just Professional Photographers in North Florida.
Okay, let's make sure that FPP gets that name change. I'm not sure if it's on the website. So if you
Um,
can
I
just email
email,
it to us.
well, yeah, this is something that Lewis and I talked about last year at Focus. So I don't, it may have gotten dropped through the cracks there. Uh,
I'm out of the loop because I'm not on the board, so I
I
haven't looked
got
at
you.
the website. But
Yeah, go ahead and
I think Anthony
Jonathan,
was just
email
getting on the board then as well.
last year. Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead and email that information to me,
Will do.
and it's just Anthony at sasanophotography.com. I'll put it in the chat.
it'll get there
Um,
quicker.
and then I can make sure all that information gets updated because we are looking at getting information out to all the different affiliates and stuff like that.
Cool.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start here. I won't be able to see you guys because I'm going to start up a presentation. So just holler, or if you raise your hand, Anthony will say something. I'll try and go slow. I know I talk really fast, so if you miss something that I say something. So let me get this up and going. Oh man, that thing covers up the.
You have to share your screen.
Yeah, well, it covered up my Zoom. I have to do this. Problem is when you do a presentation on a double monitor, it tries to throw it both up. We're gonna share. There we go. All right. Can we see my screen
Yes.
with
Yes.
the little airplanes on it? So this is image competition and merit review. This right here is one of my images from 2017 that I've pulled up. Um, this is what we're kind of look at and see what's good and what's bad, and differences in judges. You're always going to have a difference in judge. So I'm going to show you the difference between this and FPP and PPA and why one might like it more than another. Um, so who am I? Michael Peterson. I'm a master photographer, master artist, craftsman in CPP. That's all through PPA. And I have my Florida degree of photography, Florida degree of artist, my education degree, and my service award, which means I've just been around a while. That's all that little bling stuff around me. You'll hear me walking around, but if you see Sandra Pierce, you'll hear her from about a mile from all the stuff she's got. Here's the important dates. You can write these down, or they are on the website. These are the 4 Zooms. Obviously, you're in the first one. They're on different days of the week, different times. Just trying to get everybody to be able to come into each one. Just so everybody knows, I'll be posting a link up on the members and friends. Is everybody a member of the members and friends group on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, cool. There'll be a link to this video there and any other videos that you don't have. And I think hopefully sometimes in the next week or so, we'll have it on the website. These are your very important dates. Okay, we're going to open registration on April 24th. Okay, that's when you can first start entering registration. We'll go through some of that on registration and how to do with it. May 24th, we call it the last day for early bird registration. So between April 24th and May 24th, you can pay $20 per entry. Okay, that's what it's going to cost you. Starting the 25th through the 12th, it goes up to $30 each. Okay, that being said, if you go anywhere between April 24th and June 12th, you can continually update your image. You can, if you don't like it, you want to resubmit it, you see something you don't like, you don't want to submit it, you want to put something else in its place, you can go ahead and do it. And unlike PPA, we will let you do any changes you want leading up to that. That being said, this is my opinion. If you know you're going to put in X amount of images, do it before May 24th because you're only going to pay $20. It doesn't mean you have to have it done by May 24th. We call them placeholders. So just put something in there, pay your $20 and move on. Why waste $10? Anywhere in this time frame, also, you will be able to buy a critique. Everybody know what a critique is for an image. One of our 5 judges will, after competition, will look at your image and give you the goods and the bads and what they think. If you didn't merit, they can point out some things and you'll get a video of this. This isn't just an email or sorry, or just an email about it. There's going to be a lot of that. It's vodka. Don't worry about it. I get really bad jokes, just so everybody knows. I'm just kidding. They'll give you a critique just for you. So one of these judges, not another judge, will do it. And they only cost $10. So if your image didn't merit, they give you an idea to do it. Not to mention the fact that if you plan on entering MIR through PPA, this is a good way to get a review before entering MIR. Or if you're going to enter IPC as well, this is a great way for you to get some feedback on your image. We're going to start judging on June 16th. It is virtual. It will not be an in-person kind of thing, which is kind of great in the fact that we will be having it also live through printcompetition.com. We plan on doing another thing through YouTube, so you can actually sit there and listen to your image being judged, just like we were having it straight up focus. So you'll have that month before that you all can have parties. I think one of the guilds last year had a party where they all got together and watched and laughed and cheered at the same time. All entries will be entered in through printcompetition.com. Now, we're going to be able to look at a little of that today, not a ton of it, but because judging is not open, but I'll show you something that's going on right now for another guild or group. Please join. You'll have to join printcompetition.com. It is free. Okay, if you haven't, anybody not a member of Print Comp that's online right now? Everybody's a member? Does everybody pay the like $10 for printcompetition.com? No? That makes you a member to where you can go back through, you can look at all the old images, you can look at all the videos of it, and you can actually watch other guilds / states / whatever that do competition. I think, Anthony, $10, $12, something like that.
I think it's 17 per
17?
quarter or 17 per third of the year, something like that.
Something like that. It is well worth it. So you can actually go back through and you can see your images. And I actually kind of like it, so I can look through and go, yeah, that merited. We don't want to do that one again because we'll kick it out. You'll be out your $20. But you can see a lot of other people's images as well, all around the country. So, questions? I know we're in the boring stuff. Okay, like I said, we changed the name a little bit. Hopefully it makes a little more sense from what I was saying earlier. Competition can scare people because, ooh, competition, once again, my image against your image. Well, it's not originally. Just because Brenda is putting an image into portrait and I'm putting an image into portrait, when it comes down to a score, it's Brenda's score and my score. They're not comparing the two of them. Okay, maybe at the final end when we're deciding who gets the higher score there, but realistically, just remember, you're not competing against the next person. That next person might get judged 10, 15 down. PPA is now doing head-to-head image competition where it's like this one or that one. There's 12 merits, which the 12 what am I saying, Anthony? The 12 elements of an image that they judge by. And we're going to look at some of that. And this is what you get judged by, not by what mine was right before yours, not by the one somewhere else. Mostly, we're just trying to help you get your images better and compete as well. We use scoring. It's between 0 and 100. Realistically, it's between 70 and 100 points, and we'll get into some of that as well. And this is the merit review. Once again, it's a great way for you to get a review on your image, to see what you did, what you didn't do. Even if you merit your image, you're still going to get a critique about it. And the great thing about that is they're going to tell you, ooh, you did this good, or you should still work on this. It might have been better, which teaches you maybe the next image you're doing what to do, or if you're entering PPA's MIR, which is to get their degrees, or even IPC, which is the big competition that's once a year that you can win big money. I think it's $10,000 to the main winner. And you can work towards your degrees like I was talking about. Question. I am obviously talking too fast. Come on. So here's the 12 elements of an imaging competition. This is what they judge by. And this is a neat little chart, and I am not going to take credit for it. Found it online. I stole it. I don't know who made it. I would give them credit. Maybe. No. This is how these are the 12 really that will help you get your image together. So when you're looking at an image, and I'm going to pick out someone, Jonathan, what do you shoot buildings? That doesn't count.
I shoot more than just that.
What's that? Well, what the questions I'm going to have are going to be different for you. I want to ask someone else. Leslie. Leslie?
Here. Yes, I'm
Okay.
here.
Do you shoot people? Is that one of the big things you do?
Yes, I shoot people.
Okay. And you enter competition.
Yep.
So don't look at this chart. Tell me what you look for when you're taking a picture. For a reason. When you're taking a picture for a reason.
All right. I am going to pick the image that has the most impact.
She's looking.
No, I'm not. The thought being that the judges are bored, and as each image is flipping over, they might be technically perfect, but if one brings up a wow or a giggle or an ah, then I'm going to get more of their attention.
Okay, that's in a nutshell kind of what we're getting at. I shouldn't have shown this first. She stole my thunder. Yes, impact is the main thing that the judge is going to see right off the bat. And then from that, they're going to peel back to some of the other things. So if you look at these little trails off, these little legs off, your center of interest, that's one of the things they're going to look for. What am I taking a picture of? Why am I looking at this picture? So let's just say it's a person. Okay, we're taking a picture of the person. Is it composed right? You know, do we have it offset? Are we a little straight? Are we crooked? This is part of your technique and way of doing things. We each have a different kind of creativity and style. I don't shoot the same as everybody sitting here. And I hope that's true for everybody. If you start shooting or doing things like everybody else, you're not going to be that stand out. No, I'm not saying I'm better. Most of the time, I'm worse, but different is always good. Technical excellence will nail you every time in competition. It won't necessarily when you're out taking pictures of a family at the beach or something like that, because most of the time people won't see it. But when a judge goes in there, they're going to see little things. They're going to notice crooked horizon or spots. The color is off. We're going to talk about presentation, how well you lit it. Did you light it well? Did you try and fix it in post? And once again, your technique. So that's kind of something to think about. And finally, some of the biggest things are storytelling and subject matter. And I have some presentations that I go through stuff like this for competition, but storytelling is a big thing in competition. You can take a picture of something like Jonathan takes a picture of what's the last thing you took a picture of?
The A Lusty Battlefield reenactment.
Okay, so he's going to find something that it's not just your snapshot picture, but it's got something that gives you that little storytelling that what the subject matter is. I mean, you can go as far as you can go take a picture of some of these art buildings, and everybody can take a picture of it, but maybe you light it different, maybe you do different angles. That's all part of the storytelling. Those are the 12 elements. They all give you that wow impact. The last thing that you're going to have to figure out is what I call the 13th element, which is will help you immensely in an image. Who knows my 13th element? Who's been in one of my presentations? Oh, the title. You have to have a title for any image that's going into competition. For me, that's the hardest thing to do. It really is. You have to come up with something that tells the story down the road. Sometimes it'll help you, sometimes it'll hurt you. I have a few images in here. I don't know if I have my main one that's coming up, but I had an image that the title actually boosted me in the end when we used to judge for loans and whatnot. We don't anymore in PPA. That actually gave me the boost because of the story. Some of the judges were like, yeah, it's a good image, but yada, yada, yada. And a female judge, and I don't know who she is, I wish I did. She's like, look at this thing, it's got all this going on and she's a mess. And it was actually my first loan. So a, a title will really help you. Here's our scoring. Anyone that wants to know, and that's majority of the people. I can go through all of this with you. I'm going to skip some of it. All of this is online in the rules that Leslie was just talking about. But the important things, we have a panel of 5 approved IPC jurors. Those are jurors that have become qualified for PPA judging, whether it's MIR or IPC or any other kind of stuff. Like, it's not easy to become a judge. It used to be different. It was even harder. Now it's still hard, but it's very, very hard to become a judge. That's one of our main rules is we will not pick any that are IPC jurors. We also don't do Florida jurors of any type because a lot of you might know them. And if you know them, there's a chance that they know your work. So we don't want to kind of cross that. Images are judged in either photographic, open, wedding, or artist. Now you can get degrees in photographic and you can get degrees in artistic. We don't have a degree in wedding, but we need to separate wedding from those two. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but mainly because it can fit in both technically. Let me see. The 12 elements we just talked about. Here is FPP scoring. Now, anything below 69, we call below exhibition standards. I honestly have seen in my years of being and entering, I've seen one that was 69 or lower. The sweet spot is between 78 and maybe 84, the majority of the images. When you start getting above that, that means you did a really good job. A lot of the above averages are great images or, good images, but they have something that just tipped them off. Maybe it was a spot or a sensor dust or things like that. Things you should have missed. It doesn't mean your image is bad. Okay, I don't agree that any of our images that we put in are bad. Anyone that's sitting here with me, there's always something that just hung them up on one end or the other. Anyone that receives a score of 80 above or a merits go towards our degrees. Anything that's 80 or above then are judged for final judging for the trophies awards at Focus. Everybody know what Focus is?
Yes.
Cool. And for those that aren't here, they're watching, that's our annual convention, which is held in Orlando in July. Here's a bunch of information that, yes, is on the website, but I'm going to pick and choose. Do I have any questions up till now? I forgot to ask. Oh. Okay. All images should be sized equal to 4,000 pixels on the longest side. Doesn't matter which way. You know, that's how we're going to be looking at it. It doesn't have to be, and I think I even say this later, it does not have to be 4,000 by 4,000. I'll say it again. Does not have to be 4,000 by 4,000. I have images that were 4,000 by 2,000. You know, what happens though is if it's under 4,000, it's going to get pushed up to 4,000 when we view it and whatnot, and there's no guarantee on what it's going to look like. This includes a presentation mats. Everybody know what presentation mats are? Yeah. Cool. We'll talk a little bit about that. I don't go crazy when I make my presentation mats. Mostly it's just show what it would look like. For me, I don't do babies. I don't do weddings. If you're doing those, you can get really fancy about them. Look at some of Gigi's pictures, Gigi O'Day's pictures and whatnot. You see how fancy that can get. You're not going to run into an issue normally with the file size of 7 meg. You shouldn't. It is not the responsibility of me to make sure your submissions comply with the requirements. That being said, I do scan through stuff before before competition. If I see something before the final deadline, I'll do my best to reach out to you and say, hey, we have an issue here. Here's your chance to fix it. Between that date and when judging occurs, there's nothing I can do. You're locked in. So there's no guarantees though. I'm just going to put that out there. Anybody that does albums? Anybody here does albums? No.
We do have a member who's hardcore on the albums.
Okay, but they need to be zipped up with all the pages, including the cover or title image, contained in one file for online submission. Each page or spread of the album, everybody knows each side, must equal 4,000 on the longest side. Once again, so there might be 12 pages in your book. It's just 12 of these images put together and then zipped together. Unlike PPA, there are no file naming rules for uploading images other than I don't recommend putting your name on it. It does randomize the name, but I just recommend not putting your name on it. You can call it whatever you want. For albums, though, albums are submitted as one single zip file. Each page of the album should be individually named according to the 2-digit number, 01, 02, 03. That's so nothing gets confused, so we don't end up with pictures out of order. There's no naming requirements for the actual zip, though, other than, like I said, don't put your name on. All that makes sense?
Yes.
I ask questions every time I need something to drink. Viewing condition for image review, we do our best to make sure that they're all set up equal, so that every judge is seeing the same thing. Guide images are not to be included on any entry in a photographic open review, but are required for all entries in the artistic open review. I'm going to show you what these are, but does anybody not know what a guide image is?
I do not know what a guide image is.
Okay. So we're going to get to it, but when you do artistic work, if there's an image that isn't yours, you have to show that you didn't take that picture, or different reasons, or if you want to show how you took part of this image and made it better. You have to have taken a picture to put in photographic. All of it has to be yours. But in artistic, you can use stock, you can use all kinds of other things. It has to be taken, it has to be shown. And if you're questioned about it, if I see it and I look at it, you're going to have to show me where that image came from. So if you did not include that in that image and I know it's not yours, it has to be on that image, or you have to show proof of it. So if I've seen it before, I've seen a lot of stuff. Make sure you've bought the stock or you've done something like that or such, and we'll show you how it's going to do. But you do not put them on photographic. I made that mistake once, and I'll never do it again because had I entered the image without it, it would have scored better. Had I entered the image in artistic, it would have scored better. And as such, it got an 80. They gave me an 80, but I was told later on, you'd have gotten a lot better. So it only takes one. So we'll get through that again, but guide images are small images that are put on the mat with your actual image. Once again, we'll get into that. Degree entries. You can put in between 1 and 10 entries for each classification, photographic and artistic. 20 maximum. That's the total maximum images you can enter. So if you have 12 entries that you want to put in photographic, you don't get to. 10 only. Everybody understand that? I would love it if you put 10 in each. That would just be awesome. Anthony already told me he's going to.
Going to what?
Enter 10 in each category.
No. Maybe I'm trying for 6 in photographic.
Which we're going to get to the 6 here in a short bit. Here's the rules. Oh my goodness. Okay, once again, this is photographic. This is not artistic. You have to have captured and created the original exposure. You can only have your image in that picture. I'm going to repeat it again. It has to be your picture, and nobody's helping you with it. You have to be prepared for me to ask between when we shut it down and before we have a competition to be able to show me that it was your image. Okay? If we see a bunch of pictures that are the same, then we kind of question what's going on. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that right now. I don't think in the time that I've entered competition and our previous competition managers have had hardly any issues with that. It's just, I want to throw it out there. Anything that's created by anyone else is a violation of the rules. So if we find out that you took a stock image and altered it however you wanted, that you can't do that. Once again, must be your image. It'd be real easy for Jonathan to go and take a picture to submit an image from a museum. I don't know if you do that. From a museum and crop it and change the lighting and whatever and call it his. Could be someone else's though. So it's a big no-no. Let's not do that. If an entry in all good faith is violates copyright, trademark, or any applicable law, that entry shall be disqualified. Okay. That being said, we're not talking about you going out and taking a picture and there's a trademark in your photo. That's going to be an issue. Okay. What it means is, Anthony, give me a good reason for that one. Mostly it's
For which one?
For violating copyright. If there's a Coca-Cola sign in the back of your picture, that's not violating copyright.
Yeah, I mean, the copyright one is probably just if you try and pass off someone else's work as your own,
Yeah.
or something like that. It's just in there to help us have a recourse for that, because a lot of that stuff, some people think it's like you can't have Coke or Pepsi
Yeah.
or logos and stuff in the shop, but most people don't care about that because
a good
it's
example
not for
go
commercial.
ahead.
But
A good example might be you use the Nike swoosh symbol and you put a whole bunch of pictures in it of sports athletes and this, that, and the other. You're technically violating their copyright because you're using the Nike swoosh and putting all your stuff in it. I mean, you make your own swoosh or something like that, I guess, or a Coca-Cola symbol or whatever. But yeah, let's I once again have not seen any issues with that either.
No, I think that's in there for more of a just in case type of
Just in
thing.
case.
Yeah.
You need to have obtained and have access to releases for model and property and agrees to hold us harmless if one of the models, once again, reaches out to us, whether it's a publication promotion or whatever. Do you need to submit it to me? No. This is going to be, once again, it's just in case you decide to take pictures of someone and they don't want their picture in competition and stuff like that. Because I do want to say that we do post all of competition images on our Facebook group, so that everybody can see it. And your images are available on printcompetition.com as well. I'm not asking for your model release, but please have something or be able to get something. So I, once again, never seen an issue of that. Once again, a maximum of 10 entries per entrant, and albums are limited to 3. So you can enter up to 3 photographic albums. Now, here's the biggie it's the easy one for us to kind of figure out. No entry will be eligible that has been made under supervision of an instructor. Florida school, Texas school, spring seminar, whatever seminar, focus, whatever. If you have someone that you're paying to teach you how to do it, that image is not allowed. So like I've been to Texas school and we took some awesome pictures of the models there. Can't use one of them. I would love to, but because it was taken under control of a teacher of some form, you cannot do that. And under direct supervision of an instructor. Everybody understand that part? So if you go to, and I don't know who we have for school this year, but if you're in a class for them and you guys are taking pictures, because we always do, Texas school does the same. I think pretty much every school. If you're taking pictures, and I think Mark, you had some great ones from last year or the year before of a little girl and made pictures of her in a circus and what was it? You did that, right?
Yes.
Awesome picture. Not allowed. Can't enter that in competition. I know you're mad about that because that was a good one. Jonathan?
Yeah, so this one I know is going to come up because we just had Imaging USA and several people went on photo walks and things like that at Imaging USA. Falls under the same
No.
premise.
No,
No.
yeah.
Not a photo walk. Not, I mean, like, even with us, a spring seminar, we might then from there, they're not teaching you. They're taking you around. They might be pointing stuff out. You can ask
So
a
they're
question
setting
of
up the
someone.
lighting, they're doing all of that stuff and lighting,
That's different.
you
So
know,
if you're doing a
and
photo walk that they're
that's
just making everything prepared for you, you know, everything is there. You just walk up with your camera and you take a picture. No, we had focus where Kelly Schneider was there,
right. I remember
and
that.
he had everything set up. You pretty much walked up. You could take pictures. No, that's teaching you how to do lights and things like that. But if you're
Right.
doing a walkabout, we've done them in a bunch of our different things, and I'd imagine the guilds do it. We just had one in my guild 2 months ago. I think we walked around downtown, pointed out stuff. Our guide pointed us out to different things, maybe different angles, different whatever. That's fine because it's up for you to do your camera settings and do your lighting and however you do it. But if everything's being done for you, yeah, that's a no-no. Everybody hear the difference between the two of those? Entries of the same subject in multiple images will be allowed as long as the images are entirely different concepts. Examples of this would be a completely different idea, wardrobe, and environment. Only the main point of interest may be the same. So Brenda goes out, she takes pictures of Susie, and she's in a dress at the beach, and she gets a whole bunch of pictures. And then from that, she changes to a whole different dress. Those are allowed. I mean, we can tell, you know, Mark goes to a park and takes pictures of a girl, and then you realize it's the same girl, but she's in a different dress. That's allowed. I call this the Mike rule because I got busted by PPA because I took pictures at an air show, and the Thunderbirds were doing, you know, their show and their different shows. They do different shots, and you saw one of the shots. I had that, and then there was a different thing, and one of them was disqualified. because they said it was the exact same thing. Well, technically they look alike, but and the rule became back well, and I got the ruling from the judge. The judge disqualified it, so I appealed it, but I ended up appealing it to the judge because he was the appeal committee. So that didn't go far. So I appealed from there, and then it went straight back to him again. So once again, but I could take pictures of the Thunderbirds at 4 different air shows, but it doesn't matter. So do yourself a favor, make sure they look different, different costumes, different outfits. It doesn't matter. I mean, just make it a different idea, which once again, if you take a picture of the same person and they both get entered into competition and the judges see 2 images, then they're going to see something is going on, or I'm going to catch it beforehand. And if I see 2 of the same images from you, if I have time, you can pull it out. Otherwise, it gets disqualified.
Now, can I interject on it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because literally just saw this at IPC.
Uh-oh.
There was a maker that it was clearly obvious that this person made like 4 or 6 different images from the exact same composition, setup, whatnot. It had this very artistic look to it. Entered them in 4 different categories, and I think 4 or 5, and 4 of them made it up to the top 32.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but I know
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean they were great images nonetheless. But so at our level, that's going to get
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
But the problem that happened at IPC, and I know exactly what you're talking about, was, and this is my guess, was they were judged under different categories with different judges, and they all were great images, so they put them up.
Right.
But PPA did not go after the fact and look at them and go, oh, well, we're going to kick all but one of these. And whatever the first one is, they pick stays, and then the others go. They didn't do that. So there were a few issues at IPC this year of similar things. But yeah, we kick it. It doesn't matter. If you have the same outfit doing the same thing, it doesn't matter. It will get kicked.
Gotcha. So back to, because I shoot air shows as well.
Mm-hmm. So
If
do I.
I'm going to enter in uh, FPP's competition this year, if I have 2 different shots of the Blue Angels from the same performance, where they're totally different compositions, whatnot, would it be better to do something like an album with all of those, or would it be just pick whatever my favorite one is and leave the rest out?
I'm gonna say if the opportunity arises for you to do an album, once again, that's gonna fall on the judges. The judges are gonna have these rules. Okay, I'm giving these judges these rules at least 2 weeks in advance, and then hopefully they look through them. Once again, that's falling under that if it's the same thing and it looks like the same thing, and I shoot airplanes as well. When you have an airplane in the sky, you have airplane in sky. That's all you got. If you could show a difference between the two, then yeah, I would. 2 airplanes that are one's Blue Angels and one's Thunderbirds, yeah, it's not the same one. But you're showing 2 of the same image. Granted, and what I was just talking about, I had the 2 airplanes in the beginning and they were flipped, and those are real. I've fought over that forever, that it was a real image. And then my other shot was an actual arrow, which is what they do. It's like 5 of them. And I got the flip kicked. So I just put it back in the next year. So this is that gray area that I would watch out for.
Gotcha.
And if you're asking me and Anthony, since we're going to be the ones doing the hardware work of it, what do you think, Anthony? I'm on the side that it's not a good idea to put 2 in.
Yeah, especially with air show stuff and things shooting the same subject. Like, this could apply for flowers. This could apply for spiders, bees, bugs, all that kinds of stuff. Unless we can 100% see that they are taken at different places and stuff, I would probably reserve yourself to only using one of those images per year. So that way nothing comes in, this was just you shot 5 photos of the Blue Angels at Sun and Fun, and you decide to just enter all 5 of them. A lot of them are gonna almost look the same. It's not showing a difference in that case. You went out there with your camera, you shot 300-400 photos, and then you took the best 5 and put them in. But at that point, you're literally shooting the same subject matter in the same conditions.
Right.
So unless they look 100% vastly different, like you can shoot 5 different planes from the air shows, and that's fine.
Right.
I wouldn't put the same ones in there.
See, I fought mine. I think the invert is 5 and 6, and another image I had was plane 1, and they say it on there like, no, that's not different enough. I'm like, come on. But
Right. My thought is because I shoot the Blue Angels pretty much every year.
yeah,
And
big tail number.
yeah. And so easy to see tail number, but my thing is like usually you have the 2 solos that are doing stuff like what you had, the inverteds, or something, a crossover, something like that. And then you have the group that does, the 4 formation or something like that. And my idea, that's 2 totally different. I mean, that's these 2 doing this thing, and that's these 4 doing this other complete. But I see what you're saying, where I mean, maybe because they're both the Blue Angels, I don't know.
Jonathan,
I could see that being okay. So that would be something that's totally like if you're showing a shot of 2 planes, and then all of a sudden you're showing like the flying V formation or whatever.
Right.
For me, that would be totally different because they may be taking at the same air show, but you're using different skills and different.
Right. So I
get both of those type of shots.
Let's say you have the inverted shot where they're flying together, and you have one where it's a crossover. It's the same 2 planes, just 2 different things. I would see that would probably be a raised cause for concern. But if it's the 2 and then a formation of 4 totally different aircraft,
yeah, I could
different.
I could see that one being okay.
Let's let us put a little pin in this one right now. What you're talking about is what I had issues with, but maybe Anthony and I can sit down and talk about it. I don't want to say that, hey, you can go ahead and enter, and then one of our judges DQs you.
Right.
Mine was the same way. Where are my hands? Mine were inverted, and the other one was the entire group, and I got kicked. Yeah. So one made it and one didn't. And then I didn't think the one that was as good, it got a loan, and I thought the inverted one was great. And of course, it had to go back in next year, and it didn't get a loan. So go figure.
Yeah, we'll raise that direct question. I'll mention it to the board, and then we'll reach out to some of the past print comp people that we still have contact with and ask them whether something like that, how they handled that particular. Because
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because for me, if you're shooting the inverted shot and then you're shooting a group formation, to me, that is 2 totally different shots. That would fall within the main point of interest being the same because it's of the Blue Angels, but it's an entirely different subject thing, except for the fact that they're literally in the same planes, which you really can't change.
Right.
So if we go ahead and decide that something like that is good, we'll make sure that the judges understand that if they see something like this, that it is, as long as it appears to be different, then they can judge it as such.
And I know the past ruling, and this may be way back when, there was a ruling where you could not have the same subject from the same session. Yeah. So that could be where that fell in with you, Michael.
It is. There wasn't a rule.
That has been changed. As far as I'm aware, like we had that rule at the local level too, and then when we saw FPP kind of make this change where the main point of interest may be the same, because more people were doing these like 3-4 hour sessions, but they were changing things throughout the entire session. Well, if it's one session based on the old rulings and stuff, you couldn't enter multiple images from that 1 4 hour session, which is kind of ridiculous. So I think that's where this ruling got changed. I can't remember when it happened, but that may be where the disconnect is. It's something that happened a while ago, and things have since evolved.
I
So,
would
but
I would
we'll
probably
double check
say
that.
it all because really we didn't have much in the way of air show stuff here because you got to find the category you want to put it into, which we'll talk about a little bit. Is and I don't take credit for anything like that. I think I was some of the first ones to put airplanes in competition for FPP, and we didn't have much in PPA either. So they were just kind of muddling through, trying to figure out what. And that's when
Yeah.
my Thunderbirds came up through PPA that they started trying to make this rule apply to other things. So PPA's done a better job of making that decision as well. I just think we need to pinpoint this one a little more for commercial type photo shoots
Yeah.
because you can have a picture of an art museum from one angle, I suppose, and another angle, and it's the same thing, but it's different.
Yeah.
So I
I just
think
wanted to
that we
be
need
clear.
to, I'm trying to write some notes here, that we'll look it up in more of a commercial aspect and try and get a rule in there.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on it because
Yep.
the air show up here in Jacksonville obviously is a pretty big thing. Was being a military town. I'm retired military. I worked in naval aviation for 21 years, so it's something near and dear to my heart. And I literally just this past couple weeks ago got an image excellence from an image that I shot at the air show this past year. So I know that I'm planning on entering some of those. So
Yep.
good
I
to
guess
know.
I shouldn't enter any more air show. I haven't been to air show in a while. Used to have one down here.
Your
Anyway,
your
let
your
us.
shot of the Thunderbirds is tremendous. I love it. And I know Joe's in here. He's not speaking up or anything, but Joe just had one that was in the ASP thing. That's a tremendous image. He's got
Yeah,
some images of airshow stuff as well.
I like to see it because I like to see more than just portrait.
Yeah,
So let
yeah,
us check into that. And let me make sure that I got you down. And at least I will also try and reach out to you as well. Um, write this down for me. This is my email. Well, I'll get with you later. If this is going recorded, I don't want my email going everywhere.
yep.
Um, and entries must be titled. Once again, this is your story, but not to appear anywhere on the face of entry. So we have an image, and you want to call it, and then don't ever count it as blue suede shoes. Okay, don't title something that is so basic and so generic. When you enter your information, when you enter your entry, there's going to be a place for you to put your name in. Don't put it on the image. I'm say it again. Don't put anything on your image except the image. If you do, I'm going to reach out to you, hopefully, and say, hey, this is not going to do you any good because you wouldn't put it on a painting in your house. Don't put it on there. That good? That makes sense? Once again, we talked about the 12 elements of a mirrored image. Don't put your name anywhere on it. Once again, no single image from an album entered into review may be entered in any other category. Once again, this is the same thing we were talking about before. Don't put the same picture in one that you're putting in the other. Okay? Any image that has received a merit in any category of FPP review, that's this competition, at any time in the past has received a merit, may not be entered again under any circumstances. This includes any image that's also in a merited album. So if Jonathan puts in an album full of airplanes, that album merits, but that also means all of those images are not allowed to be used in competition again. Okay? No changes to your entry are permitted once the final entry deadline is passed. No changes. No refunds will be issued after you pay your money. So make sure you pay your money when you enter, because I don't want you to lose out on your entry. and no refunds will be issued. So get an image in. You do not need to be an FPP member to compete. So if you know people that are not FPP members, they can still compete. They can only, they will not earn any merits towards any of the degrees, but we do have a non-member award for the highest scoring non-member. Artist rules. All right, we're going to go kind of the same. Most of these rules are the same, except all digital manipulation must have been performed by the maker. Here's your catch 22. Anybody enter art? Oh, come on, I can't be the only one. Okay, so I'll show you a picture later. If you're doing artwork on your image, okay, and you get to do anything you want to it, paint it however you want it. We're going to add hair. We're going to do anything like that. I can tell you what to do. You can send me an image and I'll look at it and go, you know, this would look good if you did this. I can't do it for you, but I could stand right behind you. This is different than what we were saying with a photograph and going and someone taking the picture. Anything that you do of any manipulation, I can tell you, but you have to do it all. Any entry which is produced from an existing photograph, portrait, graphic, or other artwork produced by another person must be prepared to provide written permission from the maker to the, that's not supposed to say ERM, manager by 8 a.m. on Friday. So what that means is if I'm looking at your image and this is before final, and I can see an image on there that I'm pretty sure I know who it is, or if you included one of mine, I'm going to ask you to find out where you got permission from me to use my image. Does that make sense? If there's an image on there that I see that pretty much I believe that you didn't take a picture of, nor were you able to get a picture of that, that's a no-no, and I'm going to ask you, and you're not going to have it. I know that right now.
Real quick, does anyone have any questions or whatever at the difference between the photographic and the artistic side of things?
We're going to go, I have some pictures that I'm going to show.
Right, I just want to head off
okay.
before we go into the rules, just so people aren't in a different mind space when talking about it.
Okay.
Artistic, a lot of the time, is more the composites that people put on from various elements that you did not take.
That's falling back on that guide image thing.
Yeah.
So
I just want to make sure that people aren't thinking that it's all part of photo. It's a separate part of photographic. Yeah. It's not. Artistic and photographic are two entirely separate categories.
You can make changes to a photographic image and put it in photographic, but this artistic side is when you're compositing. Anybody not know what compositing is? So you're doing a lot of layers, you're adding a bunch of different things in, and that's where you get into showing where the images are, how you used it. Artistic, show your work. That's what the judge wants to see. What did you do to make this image better? How did you make this better than what the original was? And even if it's just painting it. If anyone has ever looked at Sandra Pierce's images, anyone? Sandra will take the very worst image in the world on purpose.
Yes.
On purpose. I'm not saying she took a bad picture. Sandra, if you're listening to this, listen to the rest of the sentence. She will take like a really bad image and make it amazing because now she's showing where she went from to. One of my favorite images by Sandra is a chicken. This chicken was taken, she took a picture of a chicken in a chicken coop. There's fence in front of it. It's bad coloring. I swear she took it from an old phone that, that still had buttons and stuff on it to have the worst one. And she made the most amazing chicken out of it. So if you ever see some of hers, it's easy to tell what's hers. If you ever have the opportunity to take one of her classes and you want to learn art, she's your one too. We'll get into, I'll show you a little bit about art and how you make images better. Same rule here on the good faith opinion, violating copyright, trademark, and all that. That's the same as the photographic. Your releases, same thing as photographic. You must have them and agree to hold us harmless and have them available if I need them. 10 entries, max. That's all you get to enter. And you all have already guaranteed by coming to this that you're going to enter 10, so I'm not worried about that. Um, and no entry will be eligible that is made under the supervision of an instructor or as a class assignment. Any images created in an educational environment under direct supervision from an instructor are ineligible. You're still taking that image that you were on your photo walk that they lit up for you and did everything for you. That's still not your photograph now. So it's a gray area, I know, but the problem is if Mark and I are doing a photo walk and I take a picture and Mark's right behind me and he takes the same picture, under competition, we don't know anymore what's what because we took the same thing. So please, if you're taking it in a class, someone set up stuff for you, whatever any of that stuff is. Hang on a second. This phone won't stop beeping. Um, I don't know if it's you guys trying to call me or what. Don't call me. Please don't do it because I don't want to have to be the one that says, I'm sorry, I know that you did this. Once again, same subject, multiple images will be allowed. That's the difference here. Show that here in a minute. As long as the images are entirely different concepts. A wardrobe and environment. Once again, we're going to talk about adding things to an image. Again, you can't take two pictures and make them different just by adding different things to them. If I see it one year and then the next year I know it's the same image that you changed a little bit of a harp to a guitar or something like that, that's not allowed. That's still the same image. Good? Entries must be titled. Once again, you're only using them when entered. Don't put them on the face. Don't put your name on the face. If we see your name, we know it's you, and obviously it's a DQ. Any image that's received a merit at any time may now be entered again. Please don't take an image that you merited in photographic and use it in artist next year or vice versa. It shows up in the printcompetition.com. No changes can be made after that deadline. No refunds will be issued. Do not need to be a member. And non-members can get to their non-member award, which is the highest scoring point. All entries must include guide images. I don't care what it is, okay? Even if it's an item that you took a picture of, to be honest, I think it helps your image. One of my images, once again, it's a girl in a room that's all beat up, but even some images that I took pictures of that I changed, it showed the amount of work that I did on it. Judges want to see that. If there's a background that, and this one, I wish I put it in here, I don't think it did. It had a background on a stock image that I added a sink, I added a mirror, I broke this and I broke that. Anything that was mine that I took pictures of, I want to put on there because the judge might not know it's there. We want to show how hard you work. That's what the judge wants to see. And once again, albums entered in either event or non-event. Okay, now we've switched over to album rules. We left art. Any questions on art? Everybody's going to enter art this year, right? Come on, at least one. Albums can be entered in either event or non-event. Okay, it's pretty simple. Event albums are for time-sensitive social events such as weddings, bar mitzvahs, etc. Non-event albums are for portrait and storytelling albums. Just remember that when it comes time for wedding. If you're taking pictures during a wedding, that's an event. If you're doing pictures before or after the wedding that has nothing to do with the actual wedding, those are non-event categories. So got to make sure that it's on the fly. It's pretty easy to see a wedding picture that's on the fly. Everything else is non-event. Can I get that? Yay, nay? Photographs are all event, so you're okay there. I mean, air shows are all. Once again, you must have captured and created all your images. You must submit an equal entry and pay the appropriate fee. Each album must have the official entry form submitted for the names of the maker, yada, yada. Each album must have a minimum of 20 images per maker. And this is, yeah. So 20 images in your album. So I hope you have a lot of airplane images for your album. Now I got to. All multi-member albums must have a minimum of 20 images per member. So you can make a single maker. Jonathan can make his own, or Mark and Leslie can make one on their own together. I mean, together. You each can make one. You can build an album together, but you must have 20 each. So that's 40 images total. That makes sense? Multi-maker, single maker. It's kind of hard to get that multi-maker. We don't get very many images because that's 40 images for a book. Anybody gonna make it? Okay, go ahead, Brenda.
So John and I both have photos from an air show that we were
Yep.
at together.
Yep.
So what would be the reason for us to create an album together if we have to have the same number? Wouldn't we want to create separate albums to get our own merits and things like that?
I would say if there's a flow between Jonathan's pictures compared to yours, I would make separate ones. If you want to compete against each other, I would make separate ones. If
He would crush me.
Brenda's pictures are 100 times better than Jonathan's, I would definitely do separate ones. But let's say Jonathan's pictures, because we're not talking to the same air show. Let's say Jonathan went to one air show and it had Blue Angels, and Brenda went to, a whole different kind of one. Fun and Sun has a whole bunch of. Make it a flow. Make it make sense. Make that story make sense. If you guys are both taking a picture together, you can go ahead and do that multi-maker.
Okay.
Personally, I would do the single ones.
That's what I thought too. I just didn't know what the reason would be to make them together. Okay.
Reasoning, some people want to win that award.
No.
That's the easy way, but it's a
I want to
lot
win the
harder
award
to
because
do.
I won the award, not because my husband did.
That's something I'm not going through. I mean, my wife doesn't take pictures, so thankfully I don't have to lose to her. No, if it makes sense to do it that way, but realistically, I would do separate ones
Okay. That's all I
because you see things differently than he does.
Oh.
And yours might have, more ground photos than his. There's a million reasons to do it separate, and there's only a couple to do them together.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
A multi-album would be a wedding. So Anthony and I are shooting at a wedding, and I'm the primary, and Anthony's the secondary. He's getting a lot of the shots I can't at all. So as I'm shooting up front, he's getting people walking down. When I'm looking at an album as a judge, and I'm seeing pictures from this angle, and I'm seeing pictures from this angle, I'm going, that there ain't no way you did that. You posed all of these, and now you entered the wrong category, and that can take you from a merit to a non-merit and nothing flat. That's where you do something like that. So once again, we already talked through all of this. Multi-maker albums are judged as one entry. So you were just saying, why would we do it together? It's just the one image. You can only enter 3 albums per category per maker. So realistically, you can do 3 and he can do 3 as individuals. So then you can really compete. No titles, no names. And once again, no single image from any album entered in FPP competition may be entered in any other category. Here's your negative for a double. So you enter competition and that whole thing merits. And if you entered separately, yours merits and his doesn't, you can still use all of his images because it didn't merit. You could use them the next time around. Okay, categories. I'm going to try and go a little faster on these once again because we're once again, anybody, just because I said 1 o'clock ending, if you want to keep going, we will. These are the categories that we have for photographic. There's a lot of them. They're on the website as well, but they're broken down to make it easier for you to realize where your images go.
I have a
Obviously,
question.
what's that?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm looking at the categories and I have noticed, and this is just me being new to the game. I need some education here.
Mhm.
In portrait P6, we've got portrait of a pet, but in
Yep.
illustrative, you have wild animals.
Yep.
So I need you to explain to the group why you wouldn't have a portrait of a wild animal.
Okay. Get there. Um, Portrait of a man. Okay, that's gonna be a tough one to say, but portrait of a man must be 16 years old, may include anything. Okay, tasteful, artistic nude is allowed, but it has to be tasteful. Okay, it has to be something that if we post it up with all the other images, is fine. Is that a pretty obvious explanation for it? Got to be tasteful. Portrait of a woman must be at least 16 years old. Once again, tasteful artistic nude. Please, if it's a tasteful artistic nude, let's say a minimum of 18. Um, Portrait of a child is male or female under the age of 16. Portrait of a group, two or more people, may include children. Pretty simple. Environmental portrait. Subjects on location where the environment is significant to the image. So this is different. I mean, you can have a portrait of a man that's just anywhere, but an environmental portrait. Let's say you have your guy walking down the street at night, with you have him lit up all cool and whatnot. That gives you that little step up on that image over just a standard portrait. So maybe you're getting neon lights from something or such. Something that the surroundings make your subject better. Okay, not just walking, down the street with a whole bunch of stuff going on, not necessarily standing on a rock, whatever. You could have your fishermen in waders standing in the water or out in the mountains. That's an environmental portrait. That makes sense. Make your story better. So you'll have a better story with that environment versus not. Portrait of a pet or animals in a controlled environment, such as a studio or zoo. So once again, this is pets and zoo enclosures. This includes outdoor portraits where an animal is controlled by its owner or handler or photographer. Ooh, 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 ooh. Why don't we have a portrait of a wild animal? That's a good question, Anthony.
Portrait of a wild animal?
I
Because you
would
don't
imagine.
have. It's about control at that point. You do not have full control over a wild animal. Most wild animals are shot out in the wild, and that's why they are never considered part of the portrait category. Because with a portrait, usually we think of having control of all the elements. So, like with a pet or something, you can properly sit the pet down somewhere, set up lighting, or get the pet wherever you want them specifically. You can't go out to the safari and do that with a tiger or a cheetah or an elephant or something like that. So that's why I would imagine we don't have portrait of a wild animal because
Okay,
you
actually,
do
we
not
do.
have direct control. Do we?
Yeah, we do. I had to go. There's a difference. This might say portrait. This is only portraits. Okay, so this is people and pets and animals, and like Anthony just said, that's under control of the photographer. I had to look over here and find out. Illustrative does not mean drawing. It does to some point.
Right. Oh, yeah, that we have it in photographic, totally,
This is still
just not in the
photographic.
portrait category. But
Yeah,
it's
this
no
is
longer
still
portraits.
photographic. Hang on, Jonathan. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
Oh, this because I know this is going to come up for us as well. We have a place up here called the Alligator Farm,
Hmm.
right? And you can pay extra for a photographer pass to get in early or stay late during the migratory season for the birds.
Okay.
This is a zoo.
Mhm.
However, these birds are not in a coop or anything like that. These birds fly through the area, stay in that area for a while. It's an open air area. Any bird can come and go as they please, but it is in a zoo.
Mm.
I would. They can go to Texas, right? Can the birds go to Texas?
Birds
Pick them
could
up?
go, they come and go as they please. So there's no like when they fly in, because there's this open walk area it's a boardwalk that goes over an area where all the alligators are and whatnot. It's open air. Birds come and fly in and out, and they're during the migratory season, they some of them that are flying from south back north or north back south, however they want to go, they hang out here for a little while. So that being the reason they open this up so you can get in early or late and get it's not a controlled environment, but it is a zoo.
Okay. I will go with this side of it. We also have a place down here that you do have to pay an entry fee into, but it is wide open as well. Yes, there's a fence around it, but it's to keep the animals from being run over by cars.
Right.
And you can take pictures of birds if you want to sit there all day long and wait for one to show up. So I would say it's not, I don't even consider that a gray area. Now, if you're talking about a bear or something like that, that we know is not going anywhere, if we're talking birds that fly
It's in a
in and
cage.
out,
Right.
I would classify that as fitting on the outside version.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that would be more wildlife because they are not
Yeah.
directly controlled by the zoo or handlers at said zoo. Now, if you were shooting the alligators that were inside of that confined
story.
space, then I would say yeah, because that's technically a studio or zoo enclosure at that point.
I would say any alligator is going to be an enclosed area in Florida.
Well, no, because you can go to a lake and find an alligator just in the lake, and that would be wildlife because they're not inside of
Yeah.
a zoo style enclosure. But if it's a place you're going to pay that has fences and stuff,
Yeah.
that keeps to keep the alligators in more or less in an area, I would say that would potentially constitute a zoo. Or if they have like handlers that go out and feed the alligators.
Yeah, we have wildlife areas, like the wildlife management areas, but the animals are not controlled. Like there's the wildlife management area down there in Orlando, the Orlando wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
So a
Yeah,
lot
we
of
have a
us, bird
similar.
photographers and stuff like that, we go down there and we shoot alligators and birds and everything. And all of those animals can come and go as they please. There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
fences or anything like that, but you do have to pay to kind of get in.
The
Yeah,
judges will know when they look at your image whether that should have been shot in a controlled environment or not. So bears and things like that, but things that look like they can go free on their own will. And like Anthony said, a lot of times you can tell when an alligator is in a certain spot because we built a spot for them to lay on the rocks and things like that. So it's the judge's opinion. When you take the picture and you look at it, think of yourself as the judge and what does the judge see?
Right.
Birds flying around. I mean, realistically, that bird could be in my front yard because we get gray herons out here. We get all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. So that switches us over to, is everyone good on the animal part?
Yes, thank you very
Till I
much.
get up to this part? Abstract. It's exactly what it is. It can be anything. Okay. This is, I've seen everything from drawings to total artwork. Half the time it doesn't even need to be a photograph. It's a really weird off category. You have to definitely be in that category to be judged in that category though. Something swirly. I wish you could see my desktop. Ella Carlson, just so you guys know, does a lot of abstract work, and you'll look at her stuff and you'll be amazed. So abstract, just I can't explain it other than it does not fit in any other category for photographic. Landscape, once again, landscape, seascape, cityscape, with or without people. It's open, mountains or whatever. Wild animals, images of animals in an uncontrolled lighting environment. Wild animals, birds, reptiles, insects, pets and zoo animals excluded. So once again, it's you can see the difference when you're taking the picture. And then there's open, entry of a subject matter that does not clearly fit into any other category. I'm going to recommend you try and find a category to put yours in, not in open, because a lot of people just throw it into open. which is fine. But if you're kind of looking like, hey, maybe I'd like to get one of those awards, find a category. Not to mention the fact that when the judges are going through each categories, they know what you were thinking when you took that image. Make sense for photographic categories? And then commercial, advertising, illustration, an image created to advertise a product or service. A tear sheet is recommended. Okay, tear sheet is an image that would show where your image would have been used or was used. Now, recommended, you're not submitting it. If I'm asking you for it, there's a reason you will not be submitting it in with your thing. So a tear sheet might be Anthony took a picture of uh, uh, a car or something like that. Um, and you could show that it was in an ad or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be. It's a kind of a gray rule there too, but you're showing what it would be for advertising. Does that one make sense? Understand the tear sheet?
Is question, is reportage also photojournalism?
Yeah, we're getting there. Architecture, interior, exterior of an image of a structure. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you just that. No people, no nothing. Make sure your lighting is good. It is 100% architectural. Great angles, great lighting. It's not just taking a picture of something if you really want to judge to see it. People don't belong in an architectural. Think of an architectural magazine. If you're taking these images, just go to a bookstore or whatever and look in an architectural book or magazine. That's what they're looking for. Industrial, an image created in an industrial environment, can be people in it or not. It's got to be kind of gritty, if that makes sense. In an old warehouse. It gives you that story of your person and a place to do it. And think about how it would be used commercially. And then photojournalism. It is the same thing as repertoire or reportage. It's storytelling, editorial image produced in a non-studio environment for use in commercial media. Now, photojournalism, the biggest thing that it's going to be is photojournalism. It's what you see on the news. It's what you see in the newspapers. It's not you going in and making all of these changes to images. PPA will nail you for photojournalism, and we will know if you did massive changes to it. You did big color changes to it. You know, change it to black and white if you want. That's fine. Things like that. Cropping. When you start making all the colors look better and all these other things, it's not photojournalism anymore. It's just a photo. This, once again, is going to be the judge that's going to be looking at it, and he's going to go, nope, it's not. There's nothing I can do about it. It's judge's decision. Tear sheet included with any image with or without identifying the marker should be uploaded for print copy. Anthony, I don't believe we upload them unless we ask for them.
Right, yeah.
If we feel that you need a tear sheet, we will let you know. Sound good? This is a social event. Social event, formal portraiture, image of one or more individuals associated with a social event under direct direction of the photographer. Okay, so that's a formal picture. All right, social open is any other social event images, including candid, details, ceremony, and reception. So the social event might be taking pictures of the bride before the wedding or things like that, where you're controlling the lighting. You have it all set up for her, or pictures of and then the event open is you taking pictures of the event. You know, the actual ceremony, candids of people, things like that. He's good. Albums, we're going to go back to where we were talking. Event album, minimum of 20 images. Multi-maker, event album, same thing, 20, each maker has 20, and then you have the non-event albums, single and multi. Make sense? It's just they're broken down into categories. When you go to enter your images, they're going to ask for the categories. They're going to have that A1, A2, whatever, to make life easier on you. Artistic open categories. Once again, artistic has 2 categories. Well, that's it. Makes it real easy. Digital restoration. Entry into this category must demonstrate the ability of the artist to provide digital restoration services. Entry will be judged on the restoration, not the original image. Okay. I'm probably one of the few people that does digital restoration, and I don't know that I'll be doing it this year. I might, because judges know how much AI there is out there these days to do an image. So it's hard for me to prove what I did and did not do. So anybody do restoration? Or am I the only stupid person that will work for days and days on end restoring images? And then there's digital art. Everything else falls into that. Anything with Photoshop, Painter, I'm going to be showing the images on that. Anything else. All these entries must include guided images, which you're going to see here in a minute. Could demonstrate the artist's talent. So this is where we enter our images. And I don't know, I'm going to look real quick and see if I can log in. What questions do we have leading up till now of all the categories? None? Am I?
I have a question.
Shoot.
I know I'm a little late to the party. Sorry about that.
No.
And you probably already talked about this. So I apologize if I'm a repeat. And the
Oh, hey,
question
Rhea.
is,
I just saw you pop
hey,
up.
Mike. Hey, Mike. My question is on AI and what is happening with that and how the judges are going to be viewing it and if it can be used as stock art or, how is that handled?
Well, that's the iffy one.
Mhm.
So clarifying AI is hard on our images. It's easy for PPA because if you enter IPC, it's as is. And then again on MIR, it's very similar. When you enter a guide image and you're entering it as an AI image, if it looks like an AI image, we're gonna ask you where you got it.
Mhm.
And it's gotta be a stock photo. It's gotta be another photo. It's gotta be something.
So we're not
Some of the
allowing.
stock can be AI too.
Right.
That's
That's what
fine.
I'm
You'll
going to
have
say.
proof that you bought it.
Okay, so it's
Oh.
a purchase thing.
Well,
Gotcha.
any AI has to be a purchase made by you,
No,
or
it
you have
doesn't.
proof that it's an AI
No, it
stock.
doesn't. Because I could
No,
go
I mean
to.
that it's been purchased.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like if you use the free version of Mid-Journey or something, you can generate whatever you want through Mid-Journey and you don't have to pay for anything. But like I use for certain things Adobe Firefly, but I pay a subscription to use that. So that would be allowed.
And if Anthony bought a piece of stock and then let me use it, or I paid him $1 for it, or whatever it is, that's allowed.
Mhm.
You're going to be caught when you're doing your images because you have to show it. And if you're showing that AI image, that's pretty much what you wanted to begin with. So when you enter that image onto your art, remember everybody, there's no AI in photographic. So
Right.
it's got to be done by you. Even though Photoshop has, an AI-ish kind of way of doing things, it's still you doing it. When he's talking Mid-Journey or things like that, it's actual software that makes your image for you.
Now in photographic, you say AI. Does that mean the generative fill tool? The
No,
generative tool
because
within Photoshop?
that's still you making that happen. So once again, that's still a thing that PPA is trying to figure out. You are still making that image happen. So you're making that decision
Okay.
on an image in Photoshop. You're not, if you're editing with AI in Photoshop, then that's fine. If you're creating in Photoshop and putting it into an image, that's not your work. So if I have a picture of someone that I had an idea of, okay, so let's say this. I had a picture of a woman that was dressed up as a queen. I said, you know, it'd be really cool would be a king in a chair, big and mean, whatever, and I'll put it next to her. That's creating an image that I didn't do. So if I have Photoshop make that king for me, it's going to look graphic and we're going to know on a photo. Remember, photographic still looks mostly photographic.
So I have a photo of John sitting in a chair in a hotel room, and there's a little table next to him, and the table seemed blank. So I was in Photoshop and had them add like a whiskey glass to the table. Is that considered acceptable or no?
You're making the hardest questions we could have.
So something like that, I would okay.
I
So
literally just redid that photo yesterday without the whiskey glass because
But
he
then you
told
can't
me
have it. No,
to
I'm
use
just
it.
kidding.
I would say if you're literally, because see, it's a gray area. Because like I honestly only use generative AI to remove distractions in a photograph or to remove trash cans and stuff like that. I don't usually use it to insert something into the scene, but at the same time, you're still at that point inserting the behind into the scene to cover up the grass. But it wouldn't be anything that I couldn't do with, let's say, the clone tool or another tool within Photoshop. However, adding the whiskey glass,
It's creation.
unless you could actually paint that yourself in there and prove you could do it, maybe. But it's a huge gray area when you're inserting an external element
Yeah. And
in
that's
there without
probably the
having first
easiest
take the
way
photograph.
for us to say it. If you're using generative to remove stoplights or cars or whatever, it's reading what's around the image and then going out and trying to find a way to make it look better. You know, he's using that to remove stuff, make things look better. But you creating it the AI is now searching the entire internet to look for a bottle that you described to put on there. It is now the image that you did not take.
Right. So then would
So
it be under artistic then if I left the whiskey glass
yes,
in here? Okay.
you can put it in now under artistic and you're going to have to show how you did it. And once again, I need to follow up on the AI aspect of that. But if
Mhm.
you are still creative,
It was just something that I actually redid the photo yesterday, so it's not an issue now. It doesn't have the glass in it, but I really liked it with the glass in it. So now I just want to ask questions just for clarification, you know?
Yeah, it's probably one of the things we'll have to discuss and iron that out so everyone has a clear understanding of what is and is not acceptable in each of the categories.
Right.
In the in the artistic category, I imagine that would be okay. You would just have to put it in the guide as
Okay.
one of your guide images because you can, and you have to make sure it's either used within Photoshop that you have a subscription for that you're paying for,
Sure.
or it's generated by something that you have a subscription to or you paid for said AI to generate for you.
Okay.
But
I
we'll have
would
to, I guess, get clarification on the photographic side of things about what is and is not acceptable.
I
Because
need to look
even
at some other places, but I agree with exactly what Anthony just said. That
Mhm.
image is obviously not there originally.
Right.
So I would, if it was me and I was making that image, that would be one of uh, my separate images that would be putting on to show the work that you did.
So if I took a photo of a whiskey glass and then put it into that image and created that, that would
That's
be
the
okay.
best thing you could do.
Yep,
Right.
that's
Because
totally
then,
acceptable.
and then when I ask you later on, you can go, Mike, here's my image. Or you'll see it, which even shows even more work
Okay.
because you'll have a picture of it. Is it an artistic kind of image?
Yeah, it's a black
Okay.
and white image. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But that image that you're going to be showing me in the guide will not be artistic. So now you're going to be showing me that whiskey bottle that you took a picture of, and then you're going to be making it look artistic. Now you gave me twice as much work, which
Okay.
is good. The more
Yeah.
work you put onto
Yeah.
an image, the more the judge
Sure.
sees.
I love it. Okay. Thank you.
How do I change window?
Thank you for we're sort of clarifying.
Give me an example. Maybe not an image you're doing, but
Um, well, my thought is, you have an inspiration, something comes to you, you use Mid Journey or whatever AI you're using to create something, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. I want to incorporate utilizing some of the photographic work that I've done. So you're combining, the inspiration that you created here with some actual photography that you've created on your own, and you're making it your own. So it's kind of a combination of the two. So I'm guessing, as long as I can prove that I've paid for whatever I've done in AI, then it's definitely artistic. So, that's cool.
Hang on. I gotta find where I'm at. It doesn't like going backwards. Here's where you can put something that's similar to that. Illustrative abstract. Okay, once again, you're doing something kind of in the similar kind of thing. If you see some of the images that show up in abstract, you go nuts. I'm trying to look one up, but
Oh,
flipping back
okay,
and
I can do
forth.
that too.
Archives. Who does abstract?
Well, you said Ella, so you can look up
Yeah, I'm
Ella.
gonna look. If everyone would just give me a second here. Uh, I don't know if she uses. Yeah, there she is.
If she does, I think there's archives in there for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be Ella. I'm not saying. Let's see. How do we get this thing back to? I haven't done this stuff in a long time. Bear with me.
I don't
Share.
want to take up too much time if it's a
No.
problem.
Where is Ella? This is Ella.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
these are all the different things. It doesn't list their category, but does anybody see a picture in that?
No, so it has to have been illustrative,
Yeah.
abstract, like you're saying. There's no guide image. There's some that do and some that don't.
There's no image whatsoever. So you could put something like this in. At least I will say this as an AI starting point. Where am I at? How do I freaking thing?
Okay.
As a starting point, once again, they might ask, we might ask, sorry guys. You don't normally do this. What screen do you see?
Theprintcom.com.
Oh, that figures. How's that? Is that back to open?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that would be one place you can start to put that. Um, but please don't make it an entire AI image. You'll be
Okay.
watching you, Ria.
Dude.
Okay, there's no open images right now, any judging going on right now. But this is printcompetition.com. You really should join the full thing for, I think Anthony was saying $17 a quarter or a half year, something like that. When you join the premium membership, you can go on and you can look at all of our past images, your past images, other guilds' past images, other states' images, all of the years going on forever, and you can look at them, which is really the neat kind of, don't go so fast. The neat kind of stuff to do. I told no animals. You can see all our pregame stuff down here, which is stuff that when we're leading in. This is game day. This is us showing images, and you actually get to see the scores of all the judges. Hopefully you get all 96s. And once then, here's the archives I was telling you about. This is how we do our judging. And this is where you can watch the stuff, whether it's on your computer, iPad. I don't know that I'd want to do it on my iPhone. It might be kind of small. This is also where you'll be entering your images. It's not open yet for you to see, so I can't show you how to enter. But in later Zooms, we'll be doing that after the April one. Is that good? I still have everybody here, and it's 1:45. Okay. I don't have time to do a lot of the Photoshop stuff this time, but maybe next time. Look, air show picture. Here's a great picture, right? I love it. A lot of people might not care about it, but this is my good picture. A lot of people will submit this into competition. What's the problem? What's wrong with it?
There's
You
no
don't get
border.
to answer, Anthony. What's that?
They want a border on them.
There you go. We want to make that matte.
Hmm.
Oh, shoot. They want that matte. Here's an artistic piece. Okay. It might not look like it right now, but if you look at her face and her hair, this, that, and the other, um, but it's a great picture. No border once again. There's my Thunderbirds. Now we have one with a border and a stroke. This little white guy right here. You also need a stroke. If I have time, I'm gonna show you whether you guys want to hang around or not. I'll show you how to make one real quick. But you can see that the image is being brought in. Make your border that comes into the image. Don't make a black border. Don't make a white border. It has to bring you in. That the Thunderbirds are white. We don't want that white because it's going to draw away from the white. But it's red, white, and blue. Red is bad. Red will attract your eyes away. The rest of this is blue. So we have light blue of the sky. We have dark blue on the Thunderbird. I kind of brought it in the middle, which keeps your eyes into the middle. We want the judge looking at the subject. Borders are great. Strokes are great. The clouds are great. Why is the judge looking at your image? This is one of my favorite images. This is an art image. So if you see here, you can see it's art. I submitted this image of what first a year before this one. So these are my guide images. Here's my original image, and you see these others. I originally just submitted this and did a lot of artwork on it, and the judges came back and said, there's not much work to this image. We're not going to judge you in art. This could have been entered into photograph if I wanted. But I changed, I fixed her hair up and I cropped it and did a lot of stuff, not a lot of work. So I was thinking about it and I went, oh, my wife has these earrings. She didn't have these earrings, but my wife did. And she had a necklace. So I went in and I made them fit and I shaded in her hair. I painted her hair a little better. I opened her eyes a little more. You can see the light in her eyes. I shaded her face a little more. Boom, that's my art piece. And then I got like an 82, 83 on it instead of the 78 that I'd gotten before. Little things can make a difference, and that's what critiques are good for. So now everybody's going to enter art, right? Still no. Well, I know you do. At least I finally got someone. Does everybody see why we want to show the judges more work? This is a great portrait, but the amount of work that I put into the hair and things like that. This is stuff that I've learned from many a teacher, but that's it's hard to say. I've learned how to paint hair. I've learned how to change colors. I've learned how to, even her jacket, if you look at her jacket, I put some of the colors, depending on your monitor, some whites in the jackets. They want to see changes. When it comes to art, give them a reason. I always bring this up to Rhea, and Rhea always yells at me. Rhea made a cool one with 4 or 5 women. Was it 5? And it had a drippy dresses and whatnot. It's very artistic and it was really cool. It showed a ton of work, and I think it did pretty good, didn't it?
It did.
It did. What did it do?
I think it may have been in the 90s. I don't remember exactly.
It's one of my favorites. Competition sizing. This is very important. Here's another one that's showing my work before I go too far. You can see I took a picture of a car, and then the other 4 images are all stock photography. So my idea was to take that car, put it on the racetrack, and then I needed people, and I needed lines, I needed all this different stuff. And then I added a car in the back, and I totally reversed the colors on the back. I had to paint it all. Is it perfect? No, there's a lot wrong with it. I had some hard problems on scale and things like that. But I'm happy with it, and it merited. So 4,000 pixels on the longest side. If you notice, it's not equal, and either is that one. Doesn't have to be 4,000 by 4,000. If you do have an image, that's great because it fills the screen, but it doesn't have to be. Once again, you see the border matches the car, not perfectly, but it does match. Everybody understand the images that we want to put? Yes, no? They can go anywhere, anyhow. There's a failed image constantly. I've tried entering this 3 times in competition and they've hated it every single time. So we're just going to move on from that. Let's see this image. This is a very bad image that I took. It's just shot. It's a snapshot that I took. It's grainy. It's yellow. Yada, yada, yada. That was my very first merited image at FPP. Now, that being said, if you take a silhouette, don't leave it an entire silhouette because the judge is just going to throw it out. But because I left her arm and things like that, they liked it. So I went from that to that. You're supposed to applaud. Oh, no, just kidding. But see, the stroke I put in, it matches, but it's offset. Little things. We have a prize table at Focus this year. We did last year. Did anybody win on the prize table? Woo! What'd you get, Larry?
I got money.
You got money. That's good.
I got money. Yeah, that was good.
This year at Focus, This year at Focus Awards Night Dinner, we will have the prize table for competitors. 6 images. Oh, sorry. 6. You have to enter a minimum of 6 images and merit one of them 80 or above. That's it. And you get to draw. Now, the difference this year is it's a total. Last year was different. This year is a totally random event. You have to be in person, obviously. We're going to have you draw a number out of a prize. So let's say there's 25 people that qualified and 20 of them are there. Rhea draws number 3. Whatever the prize is that has number 3 on it, different. Whatever the prize is that has number 3 on it, that's the prize she gets. Not in an order of things, totally random. And it's up to $5,000 in prizes. So working on that right now. We're going to have some good prizes for that. It's good
Question.
reason to enter 6, good reason to show up at Focus.
Question.
Answer.
6 in the
It doesn't
same
matter.
category? It's there's 6 everywhere. Okay.
6 images. Doesn't matter if it's photographic or art. Just as long as you enter 6. Any category and merit woman. All right, I'm going to say that's the end. Do you guys want to see more stuff? Have you had enough of me?
We've had enough of you.
You always had
Well,
enough of me.
So they're still going to do the numeric scoring.
Yes, we're still doing the
Awesome.
0 to 100. We're not changing everything you've ever seen from IPC from 4 years back. Everything we've always done. Scoring isn't changing. Judging isn't changing. We got a host of good judges so far. I've got 3 down, 2 to go. It'll be online like last year.
Great.
What am I missing that she missed?
What did I miss?
That's what I said. I'm wondering, Anthony.
I think that's about it. Yeah, you covered prize table. You covered that we're going to be virtual again this year.
We're still going to have the salon at Focus like before.
What do you mean?
The prints up.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
we are planning on having the prints printed and displayed.
We're working on that and trying to get a company to print them for me. But yes, we're looking at having all of those done as well. So anyone that goes to Focus, we have a presentation that literally shows all of the images. So what it is, normally we get printed by 8x10 by a company like White House. They're put on a hard backer board. And then at the end of convention, your images you get to take home with you. So you can keep them and show them off.
You're still going to do like some of the ones that win top get bigger.
Working on
prints
that.
Okay.
That's in the works. If you get 100, well, that's what you're planning on, right?
Listen, my
100 is
name
the
isn't
highest score
Gigi.
you can get. And
My
just
name
so
isn't
everybody
Gigi
worries,
O'Day, so.
If Rhea gets 100 on her image, don't worry if you're the next one because the judges take a break. It's not fair to the next person to be judged after one that just got 100. So they take a
Never
break.
happened to me, but
Does everybody see the girl on the dock?
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
So that's my basic image that I made of her.
Hey, Mike. I'm sorry. I've got to go, but I
No.
really appreciate what you and Anthony have done, and I'm going to try to get back in here for another one of your Zoom meetings on this. It was very helpful, a lot of good
Okay.
information. Thank you.
We'll have 3 more different days of the week at different times, and we won't go through the rules so much now. You can go ahead, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye,
See you,
Mark.
everybody.
Not the rules so much. Next time we'll do a little more work. We'll do different stuff. I didn't even know Sherry was here. She was like at the bottom. Hi, Sherry.
Hey there.
She's in my
Have a little
guild.
bit of a cold, so
Oh,
to not scare everybody with my appearance and voice.
so this image here, if you want to see it, I took this picture of her. I tell a joke that I'm not going to because I don't know everybody on here. But she wanted me to get some pictures of her, and this was like my third picture, and you don't get to see a lot of it. It was crooked, it was everything. I don't know, like the rest of you guys. My first, I don't know how many shots are worthless because I'm just playing with settings and whatnot. There's no light, obviously. You can see it was, I was hoping it was sunny, it was overcast, it was awful. So I did the best I could. So I took this image and I'm like, yeah, I can paint this. I could have turned it into photographic, but I thought artists would be better. So before I ask, what would you do to this image to make it better, to make it competition worthy? We could make it, for her and she'd be happy in about 5 minutes, but you don't have to wait.
The tail of the shirt hanging down behind her is distracting.
This, how about that?
yeah, that too.
Flyaway hair.
Yeah.
She's
Her
squinting.
skin. Hmm.
I made a
Her
lot of
skin.
changes and then I made competition changes. This was my final image.
Yeah.
I know
love the
you didn't
shoes
like
you
the
put on
shirt,
her.
but I liked the shirt. She had a lot of collarbones and rib bones.
It does look better there, more
If
fitting.
you notice, I changed the color of her shirt, the color of her pants, opened her eyes a little, painted her hair.
Yeah.
I cropped up that lousy sky. But I'm going to show you this again, and you tell me one big difference between this one and the other one. Here's this one. Here's this
Shoes.
one. The shoes.
It's the shoes.
It's the shoes. And
Oh, it's the shoes.
it went up to competition and it was not like this. It was kind of like this. And they said, not showing enough work. I didn't put new shoes on her. I just hand painted those shoes. And the actual matte version of it shows shoes and whatnot. But I had to go in, I had to paint, and I did her nails, and I did all kinds of other stuff. I closed up her top. I don't know if you guys noticed that. The guys wouldn't notice it, but
Okay.
I closed up her top. And that merited after that because it shows the amount of work that I did cleaning the skin, adding shadowing. If I was to do it again, I'd probably fix her ring because the ring's crooked. No, I'm not doing it again.
The red color was a huge improvement too.
Yeah.
of
And the
shirt.
reason I did that is it was just, it was almost whitish. It is peach, but I'm I'll say I'm kind of a patriotic guy for one, but it drew me in. It drew me away from the green, and everybody knows colors, also the color wheel and whatnot. It just kind of draws you in. I'm not saying draws you into her chest, but I added shading to her face. The shirt then matched the shoes. Women love red shoes. Women love red bottoms of shoes. So what, and I'm going to ask this, and which isn't a competition thing, but it technically is. What are the things of this image that a judge will notice just straight from the picture? Anybody ever hear of the angles?
Good.
If it has one, if it can break.
Bend.
And bend
It
it.
bends, it bends, it breaks, it breaks. See her shoulders, guys would be straight, women we want. I didn't make changes. You made sure her hand was covering this area. I outstretched her
And
leg.
side of the hand too, not flat.
We don't want to see you guys there. We don't want to see this. We don't want to see this. We can see a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
All these things, this was when I got to the image that I liked, all these things about it. There's things I don't like. I got a flaw here. It looks like it is hair, but it's really thin. Just little stupid things. But try and remember that when you're taking pictures of women. Make it, like I said, I have a presentation that I show all these angles. Is that good on that so far?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. You still see just her?
Mm-hmm.
I already showed you that one. Do you see her? I showed you that one. I'd show you more, but I don't want to show you any of my competition stuff.
Why not?
The stuff I'm working on? Well, I don't have that much. There we go.
I need to get to work.
What's that?
I need to get to work on it.
Hey, I just bought a new camera. At least I've. Come on.
So you finally have a really nice camera.
Well, I've had a 5D Mark III since they came out with them.
So your competition images should be much better because you have a really nice camera.
Well, we'll find out when I actually take them. We'll find out then. Sorry, I'm trying to hurry. More questions, guys. No? All right, so here's my favorite image. Whoops, that didn't work. Really making me mad. I don't like the new Photoshop. There. That's my favorite image. It's a little dark, probably. But this is where you give guide images for a judge, and it gives the judge something to do. So this is the only picture that I started with, was her. You can see her up here. This is a stock background that I got. That's $1, $1, $1, $1, $1, $1, my picture. So realistically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $6 made me this picture. Show your work on an image, and presentation takes you the rest of the way. Anybody got a title for me on this?
Did it score? What did it score?
86, 87. So that
Did
was
anybody
able to
say
get it
it's-
into the loan category.
Excellent. I love it. Did anyone suggest maybe flipping it?
What's that?
Flipping it the other way?
I tried. I flipped it the other way, but then she was looking right to you as you're looking. It's just everybody knows you read a picture a lot of ways that you read a book. So you come in from the left to the right, and there's a reason behind it, and I'll tell you the title. It doesn't get any better. So she's in this crummy room with a broken mirror, broken sink, and a tub that isn't attached to anything, yada, yada, yada. She's got filthy skin and that doesn't get any better than this. So I wanted the viewer to see all of the other stuff before they saw her.
That's right.
Seriously.
Well, and also, if she's looking out the window to her right, theoretically, she's looking at her future. But if you had flipped it and she's looking to the left, she's looking at her past.
So what does everybody think that when I went in for a loan, one of the judges said, I can't loan this. And do you know what his excuse was? Well, that tub's too small for her. I was
What?
like,
Really?
they were saying, yeah, she's too big for that tub, and I was like, how? And thankfully, one judge stood up and said, she fits. There's no problem with that. You know, he was trying to say scale to the window and this, that, and the other. But as you look around the picture, you can see the different things that I did. I took that mirror, I added a brick wall behind it, which would be where we're standing, it'd be behind us. That broke the glass. And one of the judges said the light was leaning away from us, but I don't know how you do that on a two-dimensional picture, to be honest. Judges are going to judge. I'm going to stop this. You can see me now. Judges are going to judge how they judge, but we want to take away all of the aspects that might make them say it's not quite as good an image. Does that make sense? Take away all of their reasoning to down judge you. An honest, good judge does not go to 80 and decide which way to start. They should start at 100 and say, these are the reasons I don't like the image. Does that make sense? You shouldn't start at your basic, because you're never going to go up that high. You're always going to go down. I'm not a judge. Now, I have judged, but I'm not an official judge. But that's what I look at. I judge similar Rias. How'd I do?
You did great. You did. You know, you've been in it long enough to know what the judges are looking for and what works, what doesn't work.
She's saying that because she's being recorded.
True.
All right, guys, come on. How about some questions? I'm here as long as you guys want me. Rules. I mean, I can't show you how to upload right now, but right now you're in the early phases of your competition. Questions about your own images, categories. I'm open to everything. I'm that boring.
We're still
Everybody's
early
entering,
stages.
correct? Everybody here, so everybody going to enter?
Mm-hmm.
Competition?
Yeah. You bet.
Leslie?
Oh, yeah.
All right, everybody talk
This will be
Anthony
my
into
first
enter.
year entering for FPP.
What's that?
This will be my first year entering for FPP.
Okay,
I've done
good.
everything else, I just haven't done FPP.
Good. Are you going to come to focus in order to see all the images?
Oh, yeah. I went for the first time last year. I had a blast. It was really great to get to meet a lot of you that I've seen here today. So I enjoy imaging, and I really enjoyed focus as well.
We have a lot of good speakers this year.
Ooh.
Oh,
I don't know if we have all contracts signed yet, so I can't. What we're going to put out, because we do almost have them all signed. We're waiting to get information from them and stuff. I think I can. Hopefully, I can say this. Our pre-con, we are going to have Kelly and Kalina back for the pre-con this year. So
We need another speaker.
they're going to be Thursday. And then we have some good people lined up, hopefully, for Florida School as well. So we're really on the ball this year.
I don't get to see Kelly because that's my work day.
Where's it going to be? Where's Focus going to be held?
We have a new hotel. We're going to be at the Embassy Suites in Altamont Springs.
Okay.
So we found last year that we needed an upgrade to the hotel itself.
Mm-hmm.
And we think this is a good forward progression for us to kind of start growing, drum up some more support, get people more excited about it. And it's a gorgeous hotel.
Better parking.
Great.
The lobby alone looks so nice.
Better restaurants nearby.
Huge. I hope so. I wasn't able, unfortunately, to go out and do the initial walkthrough of it. So I still have to.
All right, I found the hotel,
stuff.
and
yes, you did.
Yes, I found the hotel, and not only do we have breakfast for free, because remember how we've all been bitching and complaining that we don't have enough time to network with each other. Breakfast is free, so we will all have breakfast in the morning together at 5 to 7 p.m. Cocktails are free, so again, another time for us to be networking. We are within 2 or 3 steps of a darling little park where we can do like an outside shoot or we can do a photo walk. Across the street is a little mom and pop Greek restaurant. It's a little hole in the wall, but the food is delicious. Across the street, the other way is ABC Liquor because, we're all photographers. We're all
Okay.
drinkers with a photography problem. And and then we're right down the street from the mall. So if you need to go to the food court or if you need to get a piece of something, it's centrally located to everything. So I think you guys are really going to like it. And they're suites. So it's not just 2 beds, it's 2 beds with a living room and with the
Nice.
pull-out
Nice.
couch
But
and little refrigerators and things.
but did you book any of those, Anthony?
What?
Any of the suites?
No,
Or
they're all
yeah.
suites. They're
Oh, they're all
suites.
suites.
Yeah,
they're
the rooms
all
are actually
suites.
all suites. They don't have like normal rooms from what I can tell
Oh.
on the site.
You tell
And
me the name of the place again?
Altamont Springs Embassy Suites.
Embassy Suites. Okay.
Yeah, it's really
Fabulous.
nice. We're just finalizing all the information so we can get everything blasted and posted out to everybody once we get everything. That way,
And anyone that wants to suck up to me, my wife and I don't drink, so there'll be drinks from me, but first come, first serve. Just know you'll owe me something.
What are you talking about?
You said there's free drinks at night.
Yes, the
And-
Embassy Suites just gives you free drinks.
Wow.
There's like
Doesn't
a
matter
free-
how many.
Oh, you
Yeah,
don't
no,
have to
I
have a
think it's like a 2 limit
Yeah,
per
they
night or
Yeah,
something
there's a
like
limit.
that.
That's
But
why I said we don't drink, so there's 2 per a night. So,
Yeah,
I'm going to be walking around
you can trade.
two sodas per drink. How about that?
So is Florida School going to happen at the same hotel? Is that kind of the new
it won't be at the
philosophy?
Embassy Suites because we couldn't lock the contract in. It's going to be at the former hotel that we have been using. But we are in talks to get that moved as well for next year. Unfortunately, we were not able to get it moved this year. Unfortunately, and we can remove this from the recording, Luis had been talking to a facility for us to go to, and unfortunately, when he passed, we were that kind of, we're trying to reconnect with them and figure out if we can do it for next year. So for this year, it's just going to be at the old hotel.
Gotcha.